Welcome to CATtheMinion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. If you've already watched one of these videos for June 2023, you can skip the intro. There'll be a timestamp below. For those of you continuing to watch the intro, this is going to be a horoscope slash zodiac slash astrology reading for June of 2023. That's just when it's being released. It's for you whenever you come upon it. I didn't do it for May because I had a lot going on in real life. I figured out that I was autistic a couple months ago, and I've been getting used to some new medication while I'm waiting to get tested. I've had a lot of family stuff going on in terms of medical travel and emergencies and all of that. I've also been doing a lot of work on updating the thumbnails and descriptions in my YouTube playlists. I need to update my website some more and some other stuff related to my business. So I did the second half of my deck of angel cards in the interim here. This is going to be the back of the deck. We'll have more information on these when they come out, and you'll be able to see more of the images once that's finally published somewhere. Hopefully soon. I've got some more work to do with these plates before I can get that happening. In addition to the other decks that you can see on my channel, I've just gotten the Wild Unknown Alchemy deck. If you've been watching the June card of the day on my social media, you'll see a few of these in there. And once I feel more proficient with the deck, I will be doing a review of that in my Cats Hit the Deck review playlist. I think that's all of the major business that's going on right now, so we will see you in a few seconds in your reading. Aquarius, your totem for this reading is the big shell. It's like, I wonder if I put it up to the microphone, if you could hear the air in it. Probably not. Let me try. We'll see if that does anything. Okay, so there we go. The reading, I'll put it there so you can kind of see the inside of it. The reading, the spread that I'm doing for this month is my triangulation spread. So we have a triangle here formed by the past, the present, and the future, and they're all constantly interacting with each other. Behind there, we have a beginning card. Oh, beginning, that's the word I couldn't remember. That tells what issue is being worked on right now. And then we come through the portal in the middle, and when we get to the other side, we have an outcome card or some more information. I forgot to say this in Sagittarius's reading, and almost forgot in Capricorn's reading, but if you skip the intro, I figured out recently that I'm autistic, and if you are autistic or neurodivergent or in some way, comment down below if you feel comfortable. Let me know if there's some kind of reading that you're interested in. Comment some kind of ocean or shell emoji down below for anybody if you're feeling frisky. So the decks that I'm using, I have the Wild Unknown Archetypes and the Kaleidos Club Nebula playing cards. Alright, so let's see what we're doing for Aquarius here. I think I have Mars in Aquarius, and that's it. The Maiden. This is often the damsel in distress energy. Very feminine. It's the part of the tripartite goddess of the Mother, the Maiden, and the Crone. Usually when I'm looking at the Dreams of Gaia Tarot, I think of the Maiden as the young female, you know, usually I imagine her to be like just barely post-pubescent, and she's learning what it means to be female in her own way. But let me not have the droning run-on sentence that I hate so much and skim the book just to get a real good grip on what we have here. Okay, the virgin, the princess, or the innocent. Okay. So it says, the maiden archetype is the epitome of innocent arousal, naive sensuality, and precarious purity. She's compelling and addictive because of her flawless and youthful glow. Maiden Mother Crone. She has a lot to learn. She's perfectly positioned for trouble to come her way and to subject her to a challenge that leads to the next phase of womanhood. So she's in the fuck around and find out mode, but in a feminine way. It's sort of like testing boundaries. It's like I'm coming out of the sort of neutrality of basic childhood, and I'm coming to learn what it means to have feminine energy or to be a feminine. So this isn't necessarily just for people who are expressing as femme. It's everyone has the polarity of masculine and feminine, positive, negative, dark, and light. And it's like your inner child, like I have a female body. I have made peace with being in the female body. I'm like, okay. I mean, I don't really feel like a woman, but that's a personal thing, and I'm autistic anyway. So but the idea is that when I think of my inner child, I'm like, oh, when I was a little girl. I usually say when I was little and just leave it at that. But I identified as a girl. I had all the barrettes in my hair, the dresses, the jewelry, the dolls, the whatever, the little ponies, and the strawberry shortcake sleeping bag and all that crap. But if I am going to heal my inner child, I need to also heal the inner child that is male, the masculine inner child, the running and jumping and digging in the dirt and playing with the Tonka truck and the Legos and my brother's Transformers. That inner child also needs healing. But in the same respect, the maiden is coming out of this sort of what should be gender neutrality of early childhood, where you go through puberty and our roots chakra and sacral chakra come online, and we're like, oh, I need to like understand what it is to be this polarity, this gender, whatever. And that varies for different people. But in general, it's like, I'm very basically, because feminine energy isn't just, tits and ass, pink, pumpkin spice latte, bouffant blonde with a lot of makeup on. It's a lot different than a stereotype. It's a mode of perceiving, a mode of thinking. There's a certain flow to the sexual energy. There's the sort of breathing in and out idea of what a womb can do. I'm learning what it means to create and destroy, right? The dropping an egg or sloughing off the inside of like the uterine lining, right? Creative destroying. I'm like demolishing part of the interior of this house, and then I'm going to create a new interior, right? Kali Ma, the destroyer, like Durga. but then also, you know, whatever her other side was. So this is what the maiden is doing. She's fucking around and finding out what the feminine energy means to her. I'm just saying her because it's feminine energy. But also for, you know, masculine people, when you're coming up, your feminine side also needs to fuck around and find out. It's like, what is your creative force doing? What is your destructive force doing? And a lot of the time, people in a male focused persona, when they get into this distortion and they are like, femininity is weak and gross and bad, ew, and the only value they have is woman is sex and I am entitled to it. That's the extreme. There's gradients. And the only feminine side that they're in touch with is the destructive force. We have a lot of examples of that in society and media, a lot of movies. So I don't think I need to belabor what that looks like, because a lot of it is crime. So this is what Aquarius is working on. What does it mean to explore my feminine energy? And that's this is going to be a long reading apparently for Aquarius. Okay. This is giving me like the Little Mermaid kind of energy. We're deep sea diving here. Okay. So how is Aquarius dealing with this in the past? The Five of Swords inverted. Five of Swords is my mind games card. But how is it inverted? I just heard messing with my head and then messing with the kid, which is a song by Rory Gallagher. It's a lot of like blues instrumental, but then there's some lyrics and it's like messing with the kid. But if we say kid, we're meaning like it's somebody who's young, right? The masculine counterpart to the maiden is the youth. You know, like in My Cousin Vinny, the two Utes. What was I trying to look at? Oh, I was looking at the energy of Five of Swords. Venus in Aquarius, which is inverted because Venus is in Leo. Directly opposed. Okay. Aquarius has been on the dark side of their feelings. And it's giving me this, it's like, you're not my mom kind of energy. Like, I'm an adult, like, stamping your feet. Like, I'm an adult, slam. Like, you can't tell me what to do anymore. I'm coming into my own, but there's still this psychological pressure. Like, you have to do this, you have to be this way. I'm telling you what to do. Someone's trying to manipulate me to be a certain way without me being able to explore it on my own. So there's this shadow element of not being able to express myself because I'm having a hard time figuring out who I am because people kept telling me who to be. Even when I said, get out of my face, I am doing it, I would sit there and I'd be like, I don't know who I am. Fuck. So how are we doing in the present? Seven of Wands inverted. This showed up in Sagittarius reading, and it was sort of like, it was kind of like an I give up or I'm not moving forward. When it's inverted, Seven of Wands is usually giving me I'm letting somebody in, like open a door and let them in. Or it's I've let my guard down. I don't know if I feel like that's what that's saying here. I mean, we have Leo energy again. And we are seeing Leo energy because it's that season. There's a bunch of stuff in Leo. I don't feel like reiterating it. There's sort of a cross path with Cancer and Leo energy. Venus in Leo. And all of that. So it's coming up for everybody, but particularly for Aquarius because Leo is your shadow side. It's your opposite sign. Mars in Leo, traditionally, although I've reassigned it Pluto. Okay, so Pluto is dipping back out of Aquarius into Capricorn starting on the 11th of June. It's going to be there for a couple months, and then it's going to be in Aquarius for a long-ass time. Or whatever, a couple years or something. So Pluto's been in Aquarius while it's retrograding. And it's sort of like a ride that suddenly stops and you get whiplash as it starts rolling back the other way. Retrograde energy usually means like I'm rethinking, revisiting, reviewing, especially if it's the shadow side. So it's like, what have I been resisting? What am I letting in? And it's not just, this is more like talk to the hand, I don't want to hear it anymore. This is like I'm starting to analyze or feel in my core something shifting. Let's see what the future card is. What does the future hold? Besides me not being able to pick up the card. The Queen of Hearts. The Queen of Cups. This is kind of similar to Sagittarius's reading. But not exactly. The Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups is a little bit like a low vibration of the Empress. What's her energy? Gemini and Cancer. It looks like she's following the movement of Mercury, which is in Gemini from the 11th to the 26th. Which is the same day that Pluto dips back into Capricorn on the 11th. And then it's going into Cancer on the 27th. And then the Sun is in Cancer on the 21st, and blah, blah, blah. Okay. So the Queen of Cups is it's not really like I've thought about how I feel about my emotions. It's I've felt my emotions and I've let information come in, flow to me naturally. Especially with Aquarius, cups would be more like psychic waters, intuition, messages from the universe than it would necessarily be how I feel. Because we don't have really, there isn't really any other feelings here. It's thinking, it's spirit, like who am I? And, oh, notice this is -5, -7, and then I have -12, which is a net result of 1, which would be the, ideally, the Ace of Cups, right? I'm really feeling myself. So this is I'm sticking my fingers in my ears and going, la da da, I can't hear you. Like, don't tell you, they can't tell me nothing. The sort of rebellious phase of establishing your identity. And then this is, you know, like, okay, well, what are these examples of feminine energy, and how do I relate to any of them, whether it's stuff that people have forced on me or stuff that I'm coming up with on my own? Like, what am I letting in? What am I taking out? How do I feel in my core? I'm trying to figure it out. But it's coming from a sense of, like, what is myself in the solar chakra with that Leo energy? And then the Queen of Cups is coming in and saying, I'm connecting to the universe, to my higher self, to, like, deep inside my heart, and being like, I'm starting to feel who I am and just become it naturally without trying to force any perspective. This is, don't tell me who I am. Like, who am I? And I'm feeling myself. Okay. So let's see what we have as an outcome or further information. The Empty Room. I don't think I've gotten that card this much. This is giving me the idea of, like, I have a blank slate and I'm deciding what goes in the room. Like, who am I? And I just got this relation to the shell. Like, the shell is full of air. Right? It's empty, but it looks like a solid object because all we can see is the very outside of it. Right? Like, I'm unraveling myself. And there's also this fractal pattern here, which may or may not be relevant. But let's look at the Empty Room real quick before we wrap this up. It's number 42, the answer to everything. 147. Sure. The empty room haunts us all. It's the universal and all too frequent feeling of lack, of wanting, of the craving to fill ourselves with something, anything. And that's kind of what's going on here. Like, what the hell am I? We too often attempt to remedy the discomfort of the empty room by any means necessary, leading us to a culture of more, right? So more jewelry, more accessories, more lattes, more makeup, whatever. Ironically, the empty room is filled to the brim with potential, yet we perceive it as not enough. This card is a cry for patience, for sitting within the barren walls of not knowing, for awaiting a true vision and purpose before attaching to what we should do next to save our outward appearance. Be with the nothingness, be with the impatience. The empty room has immense power. Let others wonder what you're doing. If you can settle into the magic of emptiness, you will soon hear its whispers of wisdom. So basically, it's just wrapping up what I said during the rest of the reading. Right? This is, I'm in the empty room, and I'm just letting it come into being. Right? I'm seeing what I thought was nothing start to congeal into reality. The Queen of Cups is the patience, because I'm feeling myself, right? I don't have to be something in particular. And I think this isn't just for Aquarius for June. This is sort of a note for the entire age of Aquarius. Right? It's, there was some movie where someone was like, well, what do you do? Like, it's important what you do. Or someone was like, who you know. And for some reason, I feel like it was Ewan McGregor, and I can't even imagine what movie it could possibly be, but it was something like surely who you are is more important than what you do. don't know why I think it's him, because I can't even imagine what the movie is, but it's something I saw. And it's probably not even him. Where was I going with that? The archetype of the empty room is also portrayed as the hungry ghost, always feeding and never satiated. That's kind of this energy here, too. It's also, that hungry ghost energy is kind of the energy of the destroyer, which is the shade aspect of the feminine creative energy. But, I mean, long story short, it's don't let anyone else tell you who you are. Try to get in contact with your core self and let that rise up into your heart space until you can feel your identity as a being in this world. All right, that's it. And hopefully that's helpful and made sense. And we'll see you in the next one, Aquarius. Thank you for watching. Stay connected with CATtheMinion energy work. Check out my complete suite of goods and services conveniently from my Linktree. linktr.ee/CATtheMinion. Color your way into some relaxation with my coloring books Energy Forms and Draco Forms on Amazon. Get groovy with fashion and home accessories from my Cafe Press or Redbubble shops. Decorate your environment with original art and divination tools from my Etsy shop.